I think what's important is to know is that you can change and you can pivot because sometimes it's a lot. It's a weird thing and it's something that people don't like to talk about. They just feel this pressure.
And I think that's especially hard after divorce, where you feel like a lot of competition with your ex-spouse, and especially if the ex-spouse has more money or has family with money. And from experience, I really did learn like it doesn't matter. Christmas can be just as magical with fewer
It's not one,
gifts.
I always make sure she knows it's not one person loves you more, or knows you better than either. It's just we're different
Yeah,
people.
exactly. We're different people. We can do things different, and that's completely fine.
Welcome to a holistic dose. We've been through the plot twists, divorce, parenting, burnout, reinvention, and now we're doing midlife with way more honesty and way less BS. Think of us as your unfiltered friends, here to remind you that you're not too late, too old, or too far behind. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Janette.
So today we're going to be talking about real talk around gift giving and how to rebuild and reframe your thoughts around it. The holidays are approaching us really
Just a few
quickly.
weeks away.
I know.
I haven't even
And
started shopping. Have you?
no, I have not. Well, I did get one item that I'll talk about when we get to the tweens area that my daughter already opened. But I feel like, I used to work in retail for a corporate retailer for Carter's, and we would start working on our holiday promotions and all the jammies and everything in the summer.
Oh, wow.
So, but it was because I was designing and doing all that stuff. By the time the actual holidays came around, I
You
was
burnt
like,
out on holidays?
I was burnt out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would save it for the last minute. So I think our hope is first for us to have a conversation around gift giving. And I think with us both going through divorces and having step kids, and my daughter has a step sibling. And then we have families, and we were the single parent, at least I still am, and you're not. But then, thinking about like, as we rebuild our lives, or maybe we're rebuilding or starting businesses, how expenses are spent for the holidays, and we can make things still more meaningful without
Mhm.
adding this crazy stress that I know that we all feel around this topic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like so much of our messaging, it's about doing what works for you, not worrying
Mhm.
about what are other people doing, really looking at what are my goals, my priorities and values, and then celebrate the holidays in a way that matches those.
I agree. So before we get into that, I would love to. I don't know how your upbringing was or what your whole beliefs were and experience around gifts. I have my own that it was kind of like my parents were divorced for the most part when I remember growing up, and my mom would have a whole stack of gifts for my sisters and I. Have two sisters. I'm the middle. And she would let us open one gift on Christmas Eve, and it one gift became two, became three, and before you know it, we went through all the gifts. And we wake up in the morning like, "Oh my god, we don't have anything to actually open on Christmas Day," and she would replenish it
Oh, wow.
completely. Now, didn't understand love languages, and knowing now as an adult that her love languages is gifts. And
Mm.
when she couldn't spend her time with us physically because she was usually working 3 jobs as a single parent, she showed her love through gifts. And meanwhile, we were like, "We just wanted you to hang with us."
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, my background was very different. So my parents are still married, and I'm also an only child. So there was
Mhm,
never like the competition of who gets what. It was just me.
mhm.
And we actually always open presents on Christmas Eve. And
Oh, all of them.
yes, all of them.
Okay.
And I think that's a Polish thing. I'm not sure. But I think I remember my parents telling me that's a Polish thing. And my dad's Polish, and his family had always opened gifts on Christmas Eve. So we just continued to do that as a family. So, but that's why I figured out really fast that Santa wasn't real because
Oh.
My parents would have to, like, make up something like my dad and I would sit in the car, my mom would be like, "I forgot to do something," and she'd run in the house and throw all the gifts under the tree, so I figured out pretty fast that Santa wasn't real. But yeah, it was actually a really nice tradition, so even going into my teenage years, at that
Mhm.
point, no more Santa coming, but we would go to church, we would dress up, we'd have, like, a fancy dinner at home, then we'd open our gifts, and then we'd sleep in on Christmas morning, and then
Play with everything.
yeah, then you could play with everything, and, we would also spend time with extended family, which is still what
Okay.
we do when we spend Christmas with my side of the family since I'm married now. But, yeah, so Christmas Day is for, like, going and seeing aunts and uncles and cousins.
So, surrounding aunts, uncles, cousins, and all the things, even though you're an only child, how did you guys as a family handle gifts for the family? So, was your mom buying and your parents buying gifts for all of those people as well? Like when you went over there, were you bringing
No.
gifts for everybody?
So, actually, when I was really young, none of our extended family lived here. My
Mhm.
parents are from Indiana, and, slowly, like, my dad's siblings, like, moved down here.
Mhm.
So, when I was young, like, real young, they weren't here. We would sometimes go t back to Indiana, and I do remember when I was really little, we would draw names. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so it was just like getting one gift for the person whose name you drew.
Did that include kids? Because I've heard see, the drawing names thing was completely new to me because with my family, we did gifts for everybody.
Yeah, so
It
for the
wasn't
kids,
all out.
everybody just got well, actually, I was the only kid, honestly, for a really long
Oh,
time. Yeah, so my dad has 3 siblings, but there's a kind of a big age difference. So really, I think I was an only grandchild through elementary school.
and they still
Um,
only drew, like, if your name got drawn?
so
'Cause I've
everybody got me a present.
oh, everybody's okay. Because 'cause I've
Yeah, so for
heard
the
it
kids.
okay, I've heard it where they'll do the adults will draw, like, they, pick at a
Yeah,
certain age, maybe, like, 18 and up, and then all the other kids, like, everybody still got for kids,
yeah,
so just curious with that. Yeah, we would provide gifts for kind of everybody.
yeah.
So
That's a
I grew
lot.
up it was a lot. So I grew up under that whole pretense and pressure. And I
Mhm.
also remember as a kid feeling super stressed out because I didn't know what I know now that my mom's love language is gifts. So
Yeah,
she had very particular taste. She would be like, "Oh, I love like a beautiful like silk pajamas and robe with this type of floral print and I love like it was like she loves snakes as far as, like, on jewelry, but she always, like, had beautiful, like, gold jewelry, so I couldn't, like, just get her, like,
yeah,
fake stuff, or to get her, like, real silver, and the prices were just, like, a lot more back then, or, like, snakes, jewelry, perfumes, so, like,
mhm,
these weren't, like, low-ticket items by any
yeah,
means, and I remember, like, I was working a job and saving up money and going to the mall and stressing forever, wandering around because I felt like I have to figure something out, and I would stress over, like, what I need to get for my aunt, what I need to get for my mom,
oh, wow.
and then how many each too. It wasn't just like a one thing, and I didn't want to put that burden on Gabby
Yeah,
when I became a parent, especially a single parent. So,
yeah,
what I do with her now is and I talked to her about it before we record this episode, she was like, "Well, mommy, what's really important to me is that you actually like the item and you use it."
mhm,
So what I do now is I make sure that she has her own like debit card and she has money loaded on it. And what I've done now, and I think this is kind of easier with partners too. I've done this in dating is like I'll say, I want anything from this website or go to this page. So I'll do that for her too. It's usually like jewelry or something like that. So I'll pick up a couple sites and I make sure she has enough money on there. And I'm like, anything from this page or from this brand, and just make it super easy for her.
mhm,
Rather than her just going to pick out some soap or
yeah,
scented things that I like, I'm paying for it after all,
yeah,
you know? So, but it was interesting that, we grow up and those same ways, at least for me, I followed that as an adult and it was becoming super stressful buying
yeah,
all these gifts for my sister's kids and everybody. And the
yeah, and
scales are
then
tipped.
even for, like, the gifts that my parents would get me when I was growing up, and I always had more than I needed, right?
Mhm.
But it was never like the and you see some people on, I mean, Amanda does this. She's a huge Christmas family, like, she
Mhm.
starts buying, like, I'm sure she's probably done shopping
She
and,
probably is. We need to be
some
going into her for a gift
yeah.
list.
So some people are just huge Christmas people and they like have the gifts just covering the living room and that was just never our holidays and
Mhm.
so I never really felt and I know Amanda finds it fun so it's not a criticism at all. If that's
Sure.
somebody's tradition and they love
Yeah.
it and find it fun then that's great. It was never something that I was used to doing.
Mhm.
Although I will say the first Christmas that Jeff and I were married, and I'm not sure what possessed us to do this, we went so crazy with the number of gifts that the kids got tired of opening them. And so this was our we had just bought the house that we're in, so I guess it was Christmas of 2018,
Mhm.
and the kids just, like, ran out of steam, and I remember, like, being like, "Kids,
Really?
there's more. I see more. I see more." And they just yeah, it was ridiculous.
Well, for me growing up, my mom got it she was that type all the time. It was like she would buy stuff and then stick it and hide it in her closet, so what I got used to doing was, like, snooping and
Yeah.
peeking through things, and then she would forget that she had gifts, and she'd be like, "But wait, isn't there something else? Isn't there" and I'm like, "No," and she'd try to describe it without describing it, and then she would realize, "Oh my god, like, I hid that in my sock drawer," you know, and she would
Yeah.
go in there. Our gifts so it was, like, stacked, and then the whole thing would be replenished, but then the even better gifts were usually in the stocking. The
Yeah, that was
stocking,
yeah, a lot because that's where, like, the jewelry
the
or the yeah,
jewelry.
yeah, the nice
Mhm,
small things can be.
mhm. So, whereas it's like other families, it's just known for, like, candy or treats or,
Yeah, I always had real gifts in the stockings.
mhm. Yep. And, growing well, not growing up, but I would say, like, when I first my ex-husband is Latin, so he had different customs regarding gifts, and we had a conflict regarding how was Santa gonna come or was baby Jesus gonna come? And
Oh.
baby Jesus was gonna put the presents on the bed, and I was like, "No, I don't want that," you know?
Yeah.
So, it's just interesting how we grow up with these norms, and then we carry them to adulthood and then change them, but
Yeah.
I think what's important is to know is that you can change and you can pivot because sometimes it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think what it's a weird thing and people it's something that people don't like to talk about. They just
Mhm.
feel this pressure. I've seen and I have so many friends who, have this pressure to get these crazy gifts just because they've just done it and that's what they love, but they can't financially afford it.
And I think that's especially hard after divorce
Mhm.
where you feel like a lot of competition with your
Yes.
ex-spouse, and
Mhm.
especially if the ex-spouse has more money or has family with money,
Mhm.
and I just from experience, I really did learn, like, it doesn't matter, like, Christmas can be just as magical with fewer gifts, and it's just a bad place to make it a competition or feel like you have to do a certain amount that's outside of your comfort zone.
I completely agree. I try to just explain to Gabby, because if she'll have criticisms from either side, like, "Oh, well, wow, you got this, or Daddy got that, or da da da," and I'm like, "It doesn't matter
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when you were younger, it was coming from the same,
Yeah.
pool, and it's not one." I always make sure she knows it's not one person loves you more, or knows you better than either. It's just we're different people, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. We're different people, we can do things different, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
And then when, as you grow up, you decide how you want to do things.
Mhm. Exactly. So did you when you got divorced, did you change anything about your gifting?
Not really. So my ex-husband's Jewish, but he's still like,
Oh, did you guys celebrate both? I don't think I
no,
knew
like it's
that.
funny because like Logan forgets that his dad is Jewish. I remember when Logan was like 6 or 7, me mentioning like his dad being Jewish, and he goes, "Dad's Jewish?" Like, oh my
I did
gosh,
not even
yes.
know that. I've known you forever since Logan's a
Yeah,
baby.
so, I mean, even though he's Jewish, he still, like, likes the, Christmas
Mhm.
traditions, but I actually think our parenting plan I think it says that I always got Christmas Eve, and then we would, like, switch
Mm.
the Christmas morning holiday, and that was because, 1, I was like, "You're Jewish," and Christmas Eve is, like, church, right?
Right.
We haven't stuck to that. I mean, now that he's remarried, and he's remarried to a Christian, and like, we don't even worry about that, but, yeah, as far as gifting, I don't even remember. It's possible that at first we would, like, compare, like, just to make sure we weren't getting the same toys or
Mhm.
something,
Mhm.
and now we just really don't, and it's always just worked out fine, and we just do our own things.
Yeah, so Gabby's dad, he does everything the shopping, like, super early.
Really?
And he's like, I'm done," but, like, I'm, like, a last minute person,
Yeah.
and then I'll, like, get these great ideas, and he's like, "Nope, I'm done." I'm like, "Oh, well, I kinda really wanna get her this." He's like, "Just get it for her then if you want it so bad." I'm like, "Okay.
Yeah.
Fine."
with
But
Jeff's daughters, but now she doesn't do it anymore because they don't believe in Santa, but, for the first few years Jeff and I were together, have I ever told you this?
I don't
She
know.
rented a Santa, like, to for on Christmas Day. She would have, like, actual Santa at her house on Christmas Day, and
Wow.
I was just like, I
Yeah,
can't compete
she
with.
does things up,
Yeah, she
that's for
likes
sure.
things that are very, I don't know the word, extravagant. I
Lavish?
mean, I was just like, I can't compete with that. So
No.
y'all get what you get over at our house.
Right. You get what you get, and you don't pitch a fit.
Exactly. Sorry, Santa does
Wow.
not favor us.
When did they stop believing?
And it's been a few years now. So I mean, our youngest Autumn is 14.
Mhm.
So probably she was probably like 8-ish, 9-ish, 10.
Wow.
You know, I have no idea. I have
Huh.
no recollection.
So I will say that why I feel like it's important to have these conversations with people because you never know what someone's going through financially or emotionally, whether your workload is too big or you have too many things to take on. And to me, the holidays should just be about getting together and spending time and
I
showing love.
completely agree. Like for me, it's like the older you get, especially,
Yeah.
and I think like we buy our kids a lot. I mean, we overdo it with our kids.
Yep.
I mean, not as much as some, but a lot more than
Mm-hmm.
many. But when it comes to like gifting between adults, like I've never gotten
Yeah.
you a Christmas gift.
No. No.
And like Jeff and I even.
But I think we also know, like, oh, we celebrate and we each other when we're on trips and
Yeah,
things like
like
that.
exactly.
Mhm.
Like we spend our money on
Or you
girls'
got me
trips.
that penis mug randomly.
Exactly, like, if I see something that I think is funny, I'm just gonna get it for you, like the
Yeah.
penis mug.
Yeah.
So
That was
yeah,
great,
like
by the way.
so yeah, even Jeff and I, like, and Jeff's actually a very good gift giver, which is
Wow.
surprising because he
Yeah.
doesn't come across as someone who would be
Uh-huh.
a very good gift giver. But, some of the best gifts he's given, like, so Logan's favorite food is steak, and
Mhm.
one year
And lobster.
and lobster. Jeff got Logan this giant, I don't know what kinda cut it was, but it was this giant steak that they had to, like,
Wow.
cut up together, and it's so surprising, right? Like, he went out to,
Mhm.
like, the, I don't know if it was the
Butcher.
giant freezer, like, on Christmas Day, and he carries this big lump over to
Oh my
Logan, and,
god.
I mean, it had to have been, I don't know how many pounds. It was huge. It was, like,
Yeah.
it was giant. And then, a kid opening a giant thing of steak, and, he thought it was great. And then, let's see, one time he got me, and I just completely didn't expect this. It was this painting of Niagara Falls, which is where we got engaged. I
Oh
was
my
like, "That is
god.
so sweet,"
That
right?
is
So he's
really
really good
creative.
at just, like, thinking of, like, what's meaningful, and none of this is, crazy expensive. Or
Mhm.
this actually last Christmas was really sweet, and this was not expensive at all. So I had a pair of purple UGG slippers that I absolutely loved, and
Mhm.
I wore them out. And I did mention to Jeff, I was like, "Oh, I'd love a new pair of UGG slippers." Well, because he knew I like purple and they don't make those anymore, he will found them on Poshmark, which for a guy,
What?
like, I never thought that
Oh
Jeff
my
would. Yeah,
god.
so he
What I
found.
thought you were gonna say was he bought a pair and then had somebody dye them.
No, like, he went on
Wow.
to, like, Poshmark and found it was actually purple glitter. I was like, "I actually kinda like these more than the
Oh my
other ones."
god.
Yeah, so he, to me, like, that's more meaningful than
Mhm.
if he had spent a bunch of money, just knowing that he, like, actually thought about it. Because as we
Yeah,
get older, it's like if I really, really want something, I buy it for
you get it.
myself, right?
And to me, those gifts mean more than anything. Like,
Yeah.
when somebody sends me something and it's like, did they just do it just to check the box?
Yep.
Or are they really thinking about me and what I love? My older sister, Ariane, she is like the ultimate gift giver. And I know that some people will say, like, I'm such a great gift giver. And then they're not. I have a
Mhm.
story about that from an ex boyfriend. Bad. But my sister actually will take notes of things that I've said throughout the year, and then all of a sudden, like, I
Wow.
forget, and then all of a sudden it's like that necklace that I mentioned, or she had like, these even just like these little cool like solo cups that were like metal, but like these cool colors, and she got me a set of them, and super creative and thoughtful. I'm always like, God, how do I top this with her?
Yeah, it's hard, like, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
come easily to me. Like, one
Mm-hmm.
of the best gifts that I got my mom, which was not expensive at all, but she loved it, she was starting to, like, do vegetable gardening, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw this cool, like, basket where you like gather your
Mhm.
vegetables, and she loved it. And she was like, "This is such a great gift." And it was like $20.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think I would rather somebody just outwardly ask, "What can I get you?" or things you like, unless they really know you, because what happens is, I'll be honest, anybody who's listening knows me, if they sent me stuff and it's not my thing, it ends
Stash it
up
in a
in this gift
closet.
closet
Yeah.
that I'm like, "What am I gonna do with this stuff?" That, to be honest, it's not stuff that I wanna regift. It
Mhm.
ends up getting donated to the Goodwill. My
Yeah,
mom
I'd rather be
buys
like, "Let's go to
lots of stuff.
dinner." Like, let's go to
Yeah.
dinner, let's go to a concert, let's do something fun instead of
Right. Or if
like
they're not near, just send like a gift card, and asks
yeah.
like, which store would you like? But, my mom, because she loves gifts, I'm like, Mom, like, just stop. Just stop. Cause it ends up being tchotchkes or
Mhm.
jewelry or things that I don't like. And she thinks it's my style. I'm like, no, it's kind of more like your style, not mine,
Yeah.
so I'd rather not.
Does
But yeah,
Gabby make lists for you? So we have one of our 3 makes very detailed lists, and of course it's a
okay.
girl 'cause I know I see like TikToks and stuff about it. Like this is like
Where they
kind
make
of tween, young teen. Like some of them even make
presentations
like PowerPoints
and
with their
links.
Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
interesting to
Gabby,
me.
I've wanted her to do that as much as she can, but she honestly, she's so sweet. She can never really think of a ton of things she wants. She's like,
That's
"Mom,"
how
we're
our
like,
other 2 kids are, yeah.
I'm like, "Can you give me?" She's like, "Well, I want this sneaker," but then it's like one specific kind, and then if you don't jump fast, it's sold
Yep.
out. And then I'm like, "Well, which sneaker did you give to your dad? Which for me?" So I have to get really creative. And she's just like, even she told me, she's like, "You do really good jobs." Like I surprise her.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget. So she really said she wanted, like, a guitar, and I was just like, "Gosh, I don't know." So here's an idea about how I try to make things more fun so that it even is more like, "Wow." And maybe this was, like, a little bit mean, but she really wanted a guitar, and I was like, "No, no, no." And I had this horrible idea, but it was funny, and I caught it on camera too and posted on social, where she wanted the guitar, and she kept being like, every day she wanted to see what was under the tree, she'd be like, "Mommy, you know that Christmas is only 5 days away. It's only 4 days away." I'm like, "Gabby, stop." Because, like, you can eye and tell that a guitar is under the tree, right? And then it's gonna ruin it for her.
Yeah.
So and I also didn't wanna break her heart because she would be like, "Oh, she's only a kid and there's not
Yeah.
enough presents under the tree," but that's really the only thing she wanted. Well, I bought a ukulele. I wrapped the ukulele, and then I put a bunch of clues in there. So it was like the first one, I went online and I found a fun way to do clues that were like rhyming, and it's like a place where you lay your head at bed, or so then the next clue is under the pillow, and then the next clue is here. She had to go around the house and she was just like, "What?" But when she opened it, my heart broke for her a little bit.
No.
'Cause she was, like, sad, and I go, "Well, baby, isn't that what you wanted?" She goes, "Not this small," and you could hear the crackling in her voice, like she was about to cry. And I was like, "Oh, wait, there's something inside." She goes, "No, there's not. This is just a small guitar in here." And I'm like, "No way, there's a paper in there." So we did the whole scavenger hunt, and she revealed it, and she burst out in tears. I'm like,
Aw.
but, like, things like that to make them special, I feel
Y
like
That reminds me of one year, it might have been the year after I went overboard, but well, I guess it would have been 2 years because we only have them Christmas morning every other year. Um, I put Morse code on the gifts,
oh my god.
and not just for their names, but, like, I think I would kinda make, like, little,
Did
like,
you do, like, a
hints.
decoder thing or something?
Yes, and so I
Okay.
think they had their phones. I think they had to, like, look up, like, Morse code, and so
That's
to figure
cool.
out whose gift it was, they had to, like, solve the sentence or whatever on and it was nice because I don't know if your probably most families, like, the kids tend to tear into things too fast, and you
Yes.
want to slow down and savor it. So
Yes.
this forced them to slow down because they had to solve the puzzle to figure out whose gift it
I
was.
love that. I think doing more of that is another creative way to really prolong the experience because it's all
Yeah,
about, again, like, creating memories, and we always, whenever we opened gifts as a family, we waited one person at a time, and you had to wait.
exactly, yeah.
But now when it's just her and I, so what I do for us is, and I started doing this when she was young, because even though she was 5 at the time, they still wanna see that you're opening stuff.
Yeah,
And even though I'm a
mhm.
single parent, there's nothing there for me. Maybe it was like a gift or 2 for my sisters, but then she was like, "Okay, mommy," but she wanted more for me, and I was not gonna make her buy me a bunch. So what I started doing is I started buying more things for myself that I knew I was gonna, like, buy and just wrap them.
Yeah.
Or I'm buying what I'm doing a lot now that she's older is, like, I'm buying us, like we both get the same kind of slippers, but, like, the
Mhm.
colors that we like, and we open them together, and it's a lot more fun this way. And another thing too that we started doing for a tradition, I don't know if you guys do this, is, like, matching PJs. I give her,
Yeah, we've
like,
done that.
Christmas Eve and make that like a
Yeah.
gift too.
Yeah. Something I used to do the same thing, buying myself gifts, but I would
Mhm.
buy them online and I wouldn't open the box. So that way,
Yes.
like, I would,
Yep.
the first time I actually saw it, it was the first time. So it was still, kind of exciting to do it that way.
Mm. Mhm.
I
I
did have
started doing
one
that.
year where I thought I had a really great idea and it was a huge flop.
Mm.
So we have our little condo in Panama City Beach. And the first year we bought it, we were so excited, and it's tiny, it's a little studio condo, but we were so excited to have a place right on the beach, and so I was like, "We're gonna spend Christmas there," and
Mhm.
we did, like, this little, like, tinsel tree, and I had the great idea that all gifts were going to be beach themed.
Okay.
I still like the gifts, but the kids were
Uh-huh.
not impressed. So and I put a lot of thought into it, like, I got each of them, like, a cute, like, colorful suitcase, and then I
Mm.
filled it with gifts, and I did, like, kites and these big, like, blow up balls that you, like, put on a body, and you, like, do, like, kinda sumo wrestling and, like, bump
Oh,
into each
yeah.
other. I got those, and that was actually really fun. Then we went out on the beach, and they, like, played with them. I
But they
got
probably felt like it was, like, the equivalent of going on a beach vacation where you get the pool floats and, like, that was their
Yeah,
Christmas
I
present.
guess. I mean, I got them, like, these, like, clear ball things with a handle that were for, like, collecting, like, shells and
Mm.
stuff, and then I got them some things that, like, they could use at home, like, kinda jewelry, but I still did, like, starfish earrings or yeah, that I mean, it was, like, okay, but they wished I hadn't done that.
Mhm. I can see that.
But,
I
like,
can
as an
see that.
adult, I would have been like, "Oh, that's fun," like, if someone, gave me some beachy things, but yeah, not
I
for the
think
kids.
gifts as a whole, as adults, can be weird if not talked about. And
Yeah.
the experience that I'll explain is like when I was single, well, I've been single many years, but several years ago when I really just didn't have the financial means to do the gifts. And I mentioned it to, like, my sisters, and I swore that I told my mom, but maybe I didn't, but I felt like I was, like, kinda understood, like, "Hey, this" I was, like, literally, I think it was, like, the first year or something, but I was dating somebody at the time. So, I got gifts for Gabby, and I got, like, a gift for him. And then, like, my mom was upset that
Mm,
she didn't get a gift. And I was just like she's like, "Oh, but you had money for your boyfriend." I'm like, "This is somebody I'm, like, dating that's, like, with me," and we did, like,
yeah.
gift exchange. It was, like, one gift, you know? But that was when I didn't realize or understand that, like, gifts really were that important to her. So
Yeah.
I've tried to be very clear and communicate with people, but otherwise it just gets weird, you know?
Mhm.
And I feel like it shouldn't, but then people hold on to that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I think again, it just goes back to like expectations and how she grew up and how she raised us with these things. But in my mind, like, I don't know, quality time with people. But again, that's what I value more and connection. And
yeah, and that's why, like, I love experience gifts, like, even for the
mm-hmm.
kids, like, we've done the Gwinnett Gladiators hockey, like, we've done season
Yes.
tickets. When they were younger, we had a tradition of doing medieval times, and that would be, like, one of the big Christmas gifts was, like, we're
Mm-hmm.
doing and we would, like, do front row and,
Mm-hmm.
like, it came with, like, little tchotchke they got to bring home, and
Yep.
it was always really fun, especially when they were young, and, yeah, I think those are the things they're gonna look back and really
Right.
value. I
Yep.
don't think they're gonna remember, like, what they got every Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. And that leads into what I was wanting to talk about is like some creative ideas that don't break the bank. So as a kid, like I wanted to give gifts to people, but didn't have the money for it. So I did this, like, every year, and it was a fun thing, and I think this could be a fun activity for kids to do too, or parents to do with kids, but I would make this little choo-choo train ornament out of candies, and it would be like the lifesaver roll was the body of the train, and
How
then the little
cute.
wheels were peppermints, and then you put, like, the Hershey Kiss on the top as, like, the steam, and then with the hot glue gun, you glue it all together, and then you put a little ribbon loop, and it became an ornament, but an edible ornament, you know?
Mhm.
And that was, like, my gift that I, like, always made for people. It just required a hot glue gun, and then you can b buy bulk candy, but it came in a nice way for me to make something. I also like to always draw like cards and little fine tip markers.
Yeah.
So then when I got older and I was again like newly single, but also even when I was married and we were trying to feel like how are we going to buy gifts and do things for everybody? I started like baking things. And I know like
Yeah.
baking things was like my younger sister's thing, but I'm like, well, I know it's like your thing, but it also can be other people's thing too.
Yeah.
And I did a different thing. Like I did this like lemon poppy seed cake that was so good and easy. And I would just put it in a metal tin. It was like a bunt and would mail that to people, and it shipped perfectly and fine, and people, like, loved it.
Nice. That makes me think of a TikTok I saw the other day where a girl gave her mother-in-law the gift of a cheesecake every month that she homemade. And like her mom, yeah, isn't that a
Oh,
great idea? Because I love like the of the
yes.
month things, but
Me
you could also
too.
do it yourself, right? Like if you're a baker
Totally.
and your mother-in-law loves cheesecake, and so then the
Yeah.
TikTok went through like a different flavor every month. I'm like, that is such a great idea. And how
Mhm.
meaningful to have someone make you a cake every month.
Yes. And then this goes back to when I was a kid, we would always do like, I would buy these coupon books, but you could
Yeah.
kids can make them, and that'd be a nice thing for kids just to give as a way for them to feel like they're giving you as a
Mhm.
parent, like a gift, like it's like a free massage or I'll help you with this, that, there, and the other. It's especially for the boys, like I know your kids don't really have chores, but for the ones that do, they can double up on them or just do something
Yeah.
sweet or special or, mommy gets a timeout where I really
Mhm.
need a break, right, for right now, whatever it is. Those are really great. But
Yeah.
the self-care things are awesome.
Mhm.
And then there's plenty of, like, opportunities if you just look online, like we have we're in Atlanta, there's the botanical gardens, and so like you were talking about experience-based things are really great
Yeah.
gifts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
But, yeah, I think that it's the perfect time to reframe the whole gifting thing before people start diving in because I know that like our friend Amanda's already done with her gift lists, but this is your reminder right now. If you haven't talked about reframing the whole gifts for the holiday, now's your time to do it.
Mhm.
Before people start getting resentful, like, oh, I got you all this stuff, and what do you mean I'm not getting these things? Or just have the conversation.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. And, another area I did want to touch on too is how do you handle gifts for the ex?
So, I'm trying to think if I ever probably before my ex had a significant other, 'cause I
Mhm.
remember for Father's Day, I would have my son, like, pick out something.
Mhm.
So, I think for the first couple of years, my ex and I would go to the store with Logan and just
Mhm.
tell him to pick something out and kinda just let him pick out whatever he wanted.
Yep.
But that stopped, but I think mostly because we both have significant others who
Mhm.
take care of that, right?
Yep.
So does Manny still has he ever done that?
Yeah, so we are always under the same kind of rules of like so long as there was not a partner involved, which I really haven't had. We felt like it was the parents' role, especially when the child was still young. So
To
now
kinda
that
teach
Gabby is
them, yeah.
15, yeah, and she has her own card, now her and I just work on it together. Like I'll
Yeah.
say, here's this, that, whatever. I'll load her card with money so she feels like she, you know, feels comfortable spending stuff. But before then, I would always help and pick stuff
Yeah.
out, and I'm like, "Oh, I know your daddy's gonna like this." She's like, "No, he's not." I'm like, "Who knew him longer than you're around?" Me. So, I feel like that was really important because I don't feel as though when the kid is young that it's as much as the responsibility
Yeah.
on the other parent.
Mhm.
So and then with siblings too, but I just asked her opinion on this because I was curious, like, so she has, a half sister,
Mhm.
and I always make sure I get something for her half sister as well from me just because I just do. Well, I said, "Gabby, you as a child, what would you prefer? Would you prefer that, like, let's say if, like" well, for her dad, I said, "Would you prefer that because I know that he goes and picks something out for her half sister on her behalf and just puts her name on it,
Mhm.
or would you prefer that you're involved?" She's like, "No, I wanna be involved." I'm like, "Well, that's something that you should talk to him
Yeah.
about, because it means something." She's like, "No, somebody else, like, if it was for another family member that wasn't like her sister or half sister, that's really important to her." And I think that it's the perfect time to start to talk and have these conversations because again, we just kind of moved into this, and then her sister just kind of
Yeah.
grew up, and I think like he's so used to getting the tasks done early that he probably never thought, stopped to think, oh, maybe I should include her in this
Yeah.
so that, her name is just not on it. And then she's opening it. She's like, oh, cool. I didn't know I was getting you that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's just the perfect time to give good lessons around that. So I think this is a perfect time for us to also normalize going back to kids making crafts, even if it's the
Yes.
macaroni arts or the ornaments. There's so many opportunities there. And to realize that, reconnecting with laughter and love is really all what it's about.
Mhm.
So whether you're rebuilding your finances, your family, or your peace, this is your permission slip to do holidays differently. And with that, next episode, we're going to start talking about some gift ideas, though. While we gave you some creative ideas here, we still feel as though we're going to cover the gift guides, and we'll do a couple episodes following up with that because there's so much more to do.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So,
Since I haven't started shopping, I need the ideas.
yes, and there are some good ones. So you want to make sure that if you are not subscribed, make sure you do go on and hit subscribes, especially, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. We have a whole full video format there, wherever you listen to podcasts, because you're not going to want to miss these holiday episodes, gift giving episodes that we have coming up. So thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with more Unfiltered Friend Talk right here on A Holistic Dose. Bye.